and that was refunds to patients at EMS, the tablets, and planning to do cleanup. And I just transferred that to the sheriff's line just so we can keep track of that and wrote a check for that separate. And then we had coroner's office supplies and equipment for some files we bought, and another $1,600 there.
So you're going to transfer.
So moved.
Second. A motion second. All in favor? Opposed? So carried.
Interfund cash transfers for the month of September. I had 2 transfers from the general fund to 911, which totaled $30,000. And then we have our road allocation from our budget process from the road to the general for $82,877.56.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor? Opposed? So carried.
The next item for approval is the first quarter financial that ended September 30th, 2013. Everything is in balance for the quarter, and I have already uploaded that to the Department of Rural Government.
Any questions on the first quarter report?
Make a motion for it.
Got a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor? Opposed? So carried. Old business. In the packet, you found a, it's a printout of our cost to date on the senior center. It's got all the revenues we paid, the hourly help. Anyway, that's to date as of September 21st, what we've got in that building. Right now it stands at $128,533.09. I don't know if anybody's been by, welcome to stop by and take a look at it. Kind of an idea. We're doing very well on the money. As I've said before, I do expect it's coming in under budget. And just keep on doing what we're doing unless anybody's got any other ideas. Under old business, we've got the internet. We have been in quite a bit of communication with the folks from Reedstown, Roy and Chuck, and actually all day today with Time Warner. We originally had thought that the cable that was on Ambrose Road was a cable that we were within 100 feet of that we could get into. As we found out, it was not. It's a traveler basically from Louisville to the northern part of the state, where that line cannot be accessed at no point. Although Ambrose Road is still our closest point. We've gotten a price on that to bring the fiber up to that. It's somewhere around $80,000.
That's correct.
They have set up, and we expected some cost on this. They have set up to where we actually will not pay anything until it is complete. And that we will pay $3,000 a month for 60 months. At the end of 60 months, that will be cut in approximately half, 50%. That, like I said, is part for the construction costs, and we will probably continue to pay something between $1,500 and $1,600 as a usage fee for that line, for the back fee. We've got all the prices on the components. We've got the agreements with the water department. We've got the best possible prices that we have. We've got those if anybody wants to look at comparing.
Well,
gonna say, the one thing I saw in the last email, looks like the actual hardware is gonna come in about 12,000 under budget.
Yes, yes, it is, which is good. So, they have said that, upon approval to do that, they would get started, and they was actually looking at something about January, that they would be, ready to go, and actually, we hope to have all our components in, just ready for that hookup, which will be up on Ambrose Road. So,
Are they saying what they think? Are they still thinking 70% coverage?
well, it's hard to,
I know
it's hard to say, and I will say this, and I'm not I'm not an intellect on this, and I'll be the first to admit, but just of what we've talked, I feel like that we're getting the best possible technology out there at this time.
I'd have to agree with that, and I know the judge has maps. I've saw the maps. It's kind of a hidden, there'll be a big green circle around the tower with some white spots in it due to the lay of the land. So, the towers and the coverage would be at least 70%, I would say, but there's some spots within the coverage area that you might not be able to touch. So we're probably over 70% of the actual area of the county that we cover. I'd say that's probably closer to 80, but there might be some areas inside of the area that we can't directly get to. So what the exact coverage is hard to pinpoint. But
What do we think the monthly rate is going to be on that?
I think this is $39.95 is that's what they're at now. They say
that's what the city of Williamstown charges.
Yeah, they
So
said.
they have like a limit on, like a gigabyte or
Well,
limit, or you
As
know?
far as any limit, I don't know. I mean, you can.
There's not a limit. The way they dictate it is speed. What we would be offering is a guaranteed 1 meg upload, 5 meg down. Now, just to give you some relative terms of how fast that is, if you have Zoomtown, they say they have up to 1 meg upload and up to 5 meg down. But unless you're about within 800 feet of a booster station, you don't get that speed. So we should be faster than what Cincinnati Bell puts out with Zoomtown.
And that's at the $39.95 package.
And you can't up the speed.
You
from
can
that,
up
or
the-
is that?
You can up the speed, and then that would be more expensive. There's also a possibility we could come back later if we decide we need to and offer a less expensive package that might be a little slower.
So we're, I guess, actually, I guess, because we're supposed to do this in the morning, I need a motion to proceed with this, and that way, Time Warner can turn in the work order, and my understanding is that they're going to start immediately on this fiber optic, run it to the Ambrose Tower. All right. Got a motion? Second. All in favor? Hold. So carried. And that's something I think that we're going to be, I sent, did you get the email I sent you about the rural counties and the internet? It's very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I encourage anybody to read that. The Hardy property, that is the 500 acres up in Seals Bottom that has been in the process to build. Update us a little bit.
Certainly. If you remember the last meeting, we kind of touched on the fact that the property was slated to be donated to the county. It was yet to be voted on, but we felt that was a technicality. Since last meeting, there has in fact been a vote. The folks at Knox Seminary all voted unanimously to go ahead and proceed with donation to the county. At this point, I'm waiting on some language that they want included in the deed as far as restrictions. They've asked me how long it would take me to generate the document. I said upon receival of the language they want in the deed, I should have them turn around within a week of a deed for them ready to sign. I would expect probably by the end of the week, I'll have the language. I'll double check on that, but I don't know if it'll take any longer than that. So everything's full speed ahead on that.
not sure I did, but I hadn't played in about 12 years, and, you know, we had a good team, had a lot of fun, a lot of good food, a lot of good people out there, just a great time. Mary Lou had told me that they had actually cleared $3,300. Part of that is going to be to just accessories for the new senior center, and part of it is going to be used for trips for the seniors when they decide to go someplace and, you know, they want to eat or whatever, but it all will be spread on the seniors, which, like I said, it was a good deal. It was great, and Mary Lou and everybody that worked on that, heartfelt thanks. They did a great job. Francis Cozen did a great job. Wes was there. A lot of people did a great job on it. It went very smooth, very professional. Also under old business, the fish tournament. Well, I mean, the first annual fish tournament. We sponsored part of that. The tourism sponsored part of it. They tell me they had 47 boats. I can't imagine that kind of weather. You know, it rained all day. But I guess these are true fishermen. It was a great, turnout. It certainly didn't dampen these guys' spirits. They
Damn the rest of it though,
I know. I don't have the exact number back on that yet, but the number is going to be, the money is going to be used for some of the other charitable and youth fishing programs that we do around the county. So anyway, thanks again to Mike Sullivan and Gary Thompson and all the guys with the Gallatin County Bass Club that helped put that on. It was a great success. Anything else on old business? Anybody? New business? I've got this probably should be old business because I was supposed to have done this last week, but I've got an appointment I'm going to recommend for a vacancy on the Tourism Commission. They are Kathy and Kurt Doerflinger. They are the new innkeepers at the Griffin Bed and Breakfast. They are going to be, because that is almost a 24/7 job, they are going to, one's going to be the member, the other the alternate. They will only have one vote, but they want to make sure that the one would be able to attend the meetings at all times. So with your all's approval, I'd like to appoint him on the tourism. Got a motion?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Opposed? So carried. Connie,
Yes.
it's your turn.
Where do you stand?
Wherever you like to.
Okay. Well, the good thing is, I know all of you, and the bad thing is, I know all of you. But I'm Connie Flowers. I'm the coordinator of the Family Resource Center in Gallatin County Schools. We help serve children birth to grade 5. And then at grade 6, the Youth Service Center, Regina Danaher is the coordinator of that program. What I have done is, I went to the office, and in your packet, you'll find an overview of the Family Resource Center. And also, just a letter to Judge McFarland and to each one of you. But I had put on here that I had an attached budget. It actually is a detached budget, and I have that for you also. So Ms. Lisa, pass those down. But on the first page of the overview, I put our mission statement, and this mission statement was written several years ago, before I even knew anything about the Family Resource Center. Pat Callan was the first coordinator, but we are funded through the state of Kentucky. We apply for a grant every 2 years. And we survey parents, we survey students, we survey teachers to find out what it is that they feel we need the most. A lot of people think the Family Resource Center is just about giving shoes, giving clothes, giving food, but we're much more than that. And that's what I wanted you to know, because I take pride in that we do those things to help every family we can, but we want to do anything we can for students to overcome barriers. Just listening tonight, I know that you know of many of the barriers our students face. And I went to a conference this week, and they were just talking about how it was supposed to be about grief, and I thought it was going to be about death. But they talked about all the different things that kids go through today, where they are actually grieving, and what can we do to help them with that. And that's what we want to do. We don't have all the answers for every student, but we help all that we can. And it's a full-time job. But I have here that our funding from the state is $76,500.04. And if you look on the form we just gave you, it's all broken down. Carrie Eckler-Tackett is my assistant. You'll see the salaries there. And does anyone have any question about that little budget that I just gave you, or your annual budget? No question. Joe, do you have any questions? Okay. All right. But we also received money from the Education Excellence Foundation of Gallatin County, which was formed about 2 years ago. And the reason it was formed is because people wanted to make donations to different organizations in the county, but they couldn't get a tax deduction. So this is a 501c3, and that's how we are funded by individuals, businesses. And when I spoke to the school board, I told them we don't go ask for money. And I don't go to churches, I don't write letters asking for money for our center. But we just have people come and say, we've heard about you and we want to give. And it happened this week. I was just walking from the school to my car, and a man stopped, and he said, y'all accepting donations these days? I'll get you a check. So people know that we're reaching out to families in every way we can. So when I presented this to the school board, you'll see the numbers there. I did want to say that when we provide the weekend blessings, it costs us about $350 a week to do that. And we're sending food home to over 220 students every weekend. And that has really started being a big job for us. South Fork Christian, if we can get the food to them, they will bag it for us. But sometimes it's kind of a chore to get it to them and so forth. But they've helped us a whole lot. Several churches have provided funds for us. But I also wanted to talk about Ohio Valley United Charities. I know we read about them in the Gallatin County News a lot. Lisa works actively for the charity, but they have helped us in so many ways. And last year, I asked for an amount of money, and I didn't get as much as I'd asked for. This year, when I wrote the grant, they have awarded us what I asked for. They also sent us $2,000 at the beginning of the year for our Blessings program. So I'm very thankful for that. But on the next page, you'll see all the different things we do. We have 7 components. One thing that we take a lot of pride in is our after-school program. We have programs, I know Spike's children have been involved in all of those. And then I would just like for you to read down and see if there's anything that maybe you would like to ask me a question about what we do. We provide dental care, vision screening, hearing screening. I don't do it personally, but you know. Yeah, we contact the right folks.
You also work on the outside of school, because I know we started a story program Monday night at the library,
Prime time.
and you went to the training at Harrisburg, Shakertown, with us, and committed, and we came up with, it was in the paper, and we had, I think, I saw like 40 to 50 kids at that program. effort. We're already working with you on that.
Well, that's part of our family literacy component. And I always say we couldn't make all these things happen if it wasn't for our friends. We have a lot of people who really help us, and we couldn't do it without them. So, now, I said I don't ask for money, and here I am. Back in the summer, I went to a conference called Victory Over Violence. And I went to one of the sessions, and there was a group there from Jefferson County Schools. They had the same position I did, but Jefferson County Schools, and they told about a satellite tutoring program that they had. And as I listened to them, I thought, there's no way we could do that. But then I couldn't get it out of my mind. I thought, you know, maybe we could, not as large a scale as they do, for sure, but maybe we could do this. We provide tutoring at school 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're paying 4 teachers to do that for us. But probably for every 4 of those I send home, children that have been referred for tutoring, 3 will come back and say, we don't have transportation. So I started thinking about if we could set tutoring up across the county, and I had put down 4 locations with 2 tutors at each location. And I want to say this, it has to be the right place, it has to be the right people for this to ever work. And you look at the budget, you might think that's too much per person to be paid for that time, but I do want to make sure we get qualified people. And I don't look at it just being a tutoring program, also look at it as maybe developing into a mentoring program. We have kids who have a lot of problems, and we have the academic problems, and I feel like if we could help them academically, they'll feel better about themselves, and maybe they won't fall into the paths of some of the parents, you know, follow that generational thing that we're seeing. So if we can help them academically, but if we could get a good role model in there to help them with the tutoring, someone that they can talk to, someone they could relate to, I see it being a twofold, maybe even bigger than that. But like I said, it would have to be the right places, have to be the right people. And if we didn't have the right places, and if we didn't have the right people, we're not going to do it. So there is a projected budget. We're getting started late this year, but maybe 12 weeks, see how it works. If we couldn't get 4 locations across the county, and that's what I'd like for the magistrates to talk to me about where you think, if you think it's a possibility. And like I said, it has to be the right place and it has to be the right people. And someone said, well, what will you do if Fiscal Court can't fund it? I said, we go back to the drawing board and see if we can figure something else out. But I do think it would be great for our kids, and I think we can make a difference in some kids' lives.
Have you said, Connie, you said $5,600 for the first year?
Yes.
Okay, and you said that this is based on the 24-week, but you are going to try it for 12 weeks and see how it works?
Right.
The $5,600 being for the 24-week?
Well, the 56 would just be for the 12 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I had put down $200, if we went to a church to offer them $200 for their utilities that we would use. But maybe the church or the facility would say, you know, we don't want that. But we want to leave everything better than what we find it, or just as good as what we find it. And I had helped with the tutoring, you know, ever since I came on board. But I thought, if we can get this going, then I probably will step away from helping with the tutoring at school and we'll go to the different sites just to make sure everything's going the way that it should.
I'll make a motion, we give them $5,600.
Just a question.
Oh, no, that's fine.
I think that probably these sites where we do this, we probably can get for nothing. I guess my point being, if we go to $5,600, we will just credit whatever's left over maybe toward furthering this or next year, or is that?
Well, you know, I couldn't, yes, that would be great, but I was thinking, I couldn't tell you what students exactly, if they're getting the help, but we could track the improvement that those students would make, and we could give a report on that, you know,
Yeah, I think that would be.
report the success stories. And I know that, of course, everything would have to be voted on for churches. And I had first thought about asking Hargis if we could use our fairgrounds, but if kids are gonna walk, I think the Glencoe Baptist Church would be a better location. Donna Roberts told me she knows that that would be available if we would like to use it. Of course, the church would need to approve it. And I don't know about the other locations. Okay, Lisa had said she thought probably Sparta Christian
Yeah.
would allow us to use their church.
Yeah, I think we'll find enough places. Quite an endeavor. Good luck. You know, certainly, all the best intentions, I mean, there's no question about it. And we only hope that the results are great. And you're gonna start this when?
As soon as I can get the location set up and get the right tutors.
So, I guess with the motion to work with Lisa to find the, we've got the money. You okay with that? Okay. We have a motion.
Jeff, second.
Jeff second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
May I ask one, where, can you think of locations that I haven't thought of?
We're talking about here in town.
I'm really thinking about across the county because we'll still have it at school.
You're talking rural areas.
Rural areas. And another thing, I had put down 2 tutors, and you might say, well, just 4 kids sign up for that location, would you need 2? I would still like to have 2 for safety reasons.
I can understand
And qualifications for those tutors, what will the qualifications be?
Well, that's a good question. I wouldn't think they would have to have a degree, but they would need to have the ability after we, you know, interview them, make sure that they would be good tutors from what we know. A lot of times you can tell by their own children how they do.
If you're gonna have 2 people, there would be a possibility of stronger students in the upper grade being able to do it with the help of
I have been asked that before. I think that would be a possibility. And you know, just because we pay 2 tutors doesn't mean we couldn't have more volunteers if they took off, you know, if they took off with it.
a good opportunity for kids who are seeking scholarships to that volunteer time.
Don't someone, like Northern Kentucky University, people that are going through to become teachers, don't they have to do some like internship hours? Maybe to
Yes.
reach out to them and maybe try to set up a schedule to where, you know,
Okay. Got it.
You know, you're all more than welcome to use the fairground building anytime you want. We've discussed it before, so.
Thank you.
What about the firehouse up there?
That's fine.
Wait, is this gonna be 2 days a week?
It's just gonna be the one day.
Don't match it.
Joe, I don't know if it's cleaned out enough
Yeah.
to really have tutoring in there.
That's something we can work on that.
To work on it.
When's our next county cleanup day? It's dumpsters up there.
I mean, having the firehouse out there, there are those 2 back rooms
Yeah.
that even if you need to divide kids up to study, I guess there's heat in those back rooms, isn't there? And that is a good location because I sent out just a little questionnaire, and I'm gonna do it again to see who would be interested. And a lot of them were at Miller's Ridge. There were several kids, and boy, that they could just walk right across.
I guess we study it a little bit, and if that seems like it's gonna work, you know, as far as location, we'll just do whatever we gotta do to make it presentable. You know, if we have to take the back room and clean it up and put a little paint on it and spruce it up, we'll do that. That's no problem.
I know y'all have gotten more moss out of the pond for me before.
Yes, we
So,
have.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate how y'all always let me use the facility out there. It's a great place for a summer program. The kids love it. Okay. I'll go sit down now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
New business, we've got, we've got Fireboard and Ponderosa Drive. They have showed interest. This is started back after last year to, for us to run the numbers and for them to try to do affordable to them, whatever it takes to bring them up to an acceptable county standard. So if you see anybody out there measuring or anything, that's what that is. Try to work something out and get those in the
When's the next meeting on that?
The next meeting, Fog Road is actually a week from this Saturday. So anybody want to stop by, we hope to have, we had some prices, we are trying to refine those and tighten them up and get the best deal we can from them, because they ultimately are paying for it.
There's a lot of roads in Tennessee.
Yes, yes, there is.
It's not that big a
Yes,
yard.
yeah, yes, there is, especially fall.
Dogs will be.
Yeah,
Well, actually, there's 3 subdivisions pieced together.
yeah.
You got 3 distinct groups of people with 3 different ideas, and that's always kind of been the problem, is the people who only need, half a mile of road don't understand why they should pay any part of that that goes back to that 3rd subdivision. You can get that worked out.
Yeah, and they've actually, I've been to probably 3 meetings, and actually they've got the numbers that I think most of the people have decided that they do want, and they're just waiting to see what the bottom line comes back. And I had Lisa call Keiko, and we've got a few ideas and what the interest rates are on some of the bonding.
Who's your contact?
The contact person on Keiko,
With the program.
Mary Lou. Yeah,
The catch always was Mr. Dell. That's the big part of the unapproved lots. And if you divide it up, depending on how you divide it up, and I don't know, I mean, he's elderly, he may have passed away. Whatever we do at the end of the day, it's gotta be divided up fairly.
yeah.
So, I'm just, those catches.
Yeah.
If they divide it up by road frontage, here's a guy that's probably got half the road frontage, and no prospects of selling it, because it's like this.
Yeah, I think what they've decided on is basically per residence, and kind of like we did the other ones. If you build on it, then you become part of the paying force.
Does that lot have to catch up with the original ones? You know, like say,
No, because they actually have not used it. It's not serviced, so they actually, if they build and move in, then they, at that time, become part of what's left. Generally, they try to leave it the same, and what they'll do on the other ones, it's worked out, they retired from debt a little earlier. You could refigure it, maybe
And
drop
and reduce everybody's by $2 or whatever.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
you retire dead a little early.
And so far, knock on wood, all of them that we've done has actually worked out pretty good. We've not had any real issues with any of them. So. Like I said, so if you see anybody out there, that's what's going on. Josh, you want to bring up anything about the dog we talked about? Hold off on that.
Oh, which one?
Got the dog that we talked about, you want to bring up anything on that?
Oh, of course, you all know we've had, an uprising in the heroin problem. And we went from the so-called meth epidemic, now we're into the heroin epidemic. And I think it's like a dog chasing its tail. We're gonna chase it around, but as I tell everybody, we aggravate them every chance we get. The issue with the heroin that we're having is, it's a whole lot easier to conceal it. We deal with people on a daily basis. They could have it hidden on their persons, in their car, in a purse. We'll never know it unless we search them, and then if they tell us no, we have to have probable cause. We have to go through the proper channels in order to do that. Been speaking with Bill and Spike and the judge about possibly exploring the possibility of getting a drug dog. I ran a drug dog here in the county several years ago. Had a whole lot of success with that dog. The dog was trained by Tony Wilson, who at the time was a custom certified trainer. The judge has been in contact with him, and I have not yet made contact with him, but plan on doing it the first of the week. He has still got some contacts. We're looking to possibly get some pricing on a single-purpose dog. I think it would benefit us in a lot of different ways. I think it would help curb our heroin problem, because when we're stopping these cars, I mean, we get calls every day of the week on an anonymous tip line. This car just left this subdivision and it has heroin in it. Or they just sold, or they just bought. I myself had to make a trip to Cincinnati the other day. I had 3 cars pass me in my personal car from Gallatin County that I know have no legitimate rhyme or reason to be in downtown Cincinnati other than that particular reason. I called Boone County, I called the state police to I gave them tag numbers, vehicle descriptions, who's driving the vehicle. I had no dog available. It aggravates me as a law enforcement officer because, I got elected to protect the citizens of the county and control this drug problem. I'm not saying I can control it 100%, but if we ever had an opportunity to explore the option to get this dog back, I would just, ask you, please, let's do this. I think it would be a good thing for our county. All the way around, I think it's a win-win. Some of these drug seizures leads to asset forfeitures, whether it be a car or it be a money or what have you. Just as of last year, we got over a $1,300 seizure off the interstate from an automobile accident that led to a search warrant at the 127 motel. It's the little things like that that it's a revolving door. Even if we get $100 off this one or $200 off that one, it's just a revolving door. And I would just like to step up and take the forefront and start curbing this problem and hitting it head on.
One thing, when I approached Josh, when you got back from, we were in Boulder.
Yeah, the sheriff's office.
I spent a week researching some of this and what, how this works, the best dogs, the results, all the pros about the dog. And then, as Josh said, Tony Wilson is probably one of the best in the business, and I know he did it for 20 years. He had, I guess, old contacts, mentioned some places where we can get a guaranteed dog that it will do what it's supposed to do. I asked him and talked to Josh both, will $5,000 cover and plus train an officer, so that's his dog. I think everybody's pretty well comfortable with that.
Yes, that is a very good figure. As Tony put it, that will buy you one of the best dogs, single-purpose dogs out there. Also, I have been in contact with the City of Florence Police, and they just built what I would call a state-of-the-art range center over in Williamstown on Dump Road. They have a full-force fledged training center for their canines, and they have offered it to me whenever they train twice a month. It's open for us to go train with them at no cost. They have vehicles, they have buildings, they have everything over there that you could imagine, and they said it's at our disposal anytime we want it.
So with that being said, I guess, the best way to get the ball rolling is I entertain a motion to spend up to $5,000 for a dog.
So
Let Josh and Tony go after it. Just keep in touch with us, what we can do. And,
It's just about what we got left in LGE, isn't it?
That bag of dog food.
Second.
Got a motion, second, all in favor? Opposed? So carried.
Thank you all.
Another quick thing.
Josh,
Yeah.
Josh, I don't know, we were at a meeting somewhere in the last month or two. There is a hotline or a number where people can call in.
Yes, we've been
I
working,
wasn't really aware of that, so I didn't know if other people were.
we have been working with the champions, and we wrote a grant last year, to get this up and going. The hiccup in the situation came with our old building. Our phone lines at that old building were not suitable to adapt to that particular type of line that we had to put in, which was, when you call this anonymous tip line, it automatically turned it over to an email, and then that email is automatically sent to me, and then from there, the recording, it also sends an alert to dispatch, and dispatch can hear that message, and then turn it over to the on-duty officer, or the on-duty supervisor, or me, or I can also see that. So we had to wait for the system to be upgraded. We got all that done. The phone number is 567-4000. I have put it out on the Sheriff's Department's Facebook page. We're going to look at doing a billboard through the grant, through the champions, putting it out some different places, some billboards, or even some 4-bay sheets of reader board, and put it out different places, and that way we can move it around the county, and it's completely anonymous. There is no phone when you dial that number. Nobody on the other end can hear it ring. It's completely anonymous. Nobody can pick up on that line. I can't pick up and talk to the person that calls in. It does not happen. There is no per se phone that rings. It's just a phone line that rings into the system. So I know some people had some questions about that, and everything that comes in on that line is completely confidential and is not allowed to go across the radio traffic. Under no certain circumstances, and I've worked it out with dispatch, does it go across the air for no reason whatsoever. The only legality to it is if it was something that involved a murder or anything like that, then that information is subpoenable through the courts and the courts only.
Okay, good deal.
But we're going to promote it real hard in the next few months.
Got a question about the dog.
Yes.
Where can you take the dog legal? I mean, can you, like, traffic stops?
Traffic
Through
stops.
businesses, I mean, what can you or can't you do, just real quickly with the dog?
The dog has a free air sniff. And the Supreme Court says, as long as you are legally to be where you're allowed to be, if that dog detects an odor of some type, and you articulate that there's illegal substances there, the dog's nose itself, by the Supreme Court, you do not need a search warrant. Now, if there's a circumstance where I'm in a parking lot and it hits on a car, all I need to do is find the owner of the car and have the owner of the car open the car, or we can get a search warrant, either one. The Supreme Court upholds the use of the dog by its training records and also by its certifications. But it's basically called a free air sniff. If I'm going up to serve a paper on John Doe, and I have a reason to believe he's selling drugs out of his house, I'm not allowed to take that dog up to the front door and serve him for papers with that dog. That's unconstitutional. I can't just walk up to anybody's house and have them sniff the house. I cannot do that. I have to have reasonable suspicion to believe that there's illegal activity going on, and things like that. Now, automobile's different. That's a vehicle that's in transport. If I have reason to believe that there's drugs in that vehicle, and one of my officers writes a ticket within the reasonable amount of time that they're writing the ticket, I do have the right to take that dog around that car. And if the dog hits on that car, then the Supreme Court says I can remove people from that car and search it.
That's how we feel, our might get packing around a little bit with what he reads.
You can make a pet out of it.
I still do have a lot of equipment left over from when I had my chocolate lab before. we have our pickup truck, which is readily available for that reason. And, I mean, we're ready to move forward and try to get something going. And like I said, jump up on the forefront and try to get something going.
Good, go for it. Another little tidbit of information. I was reviewing the quarterly numbers and looking at them pretty close, and was speaking with Lisa today on some of the different debts that we've got out there. And you'll like this too, Judge. We've got the money where, I'd like to entertain a motion. We've got the money where we can actually pay off the 011 ambulance, finish it out, get rid of that debt. We've got the money where we can actually pay off the gray truck, and we've got the money where we can pay off the Durango. We just want to get rid of those payments and get them out of the way while it's there. So, got a motion? Second. All in favor? Opposed?
They call that, right?
So we will find
Judge, you got a question
You said the 11 ambulance, the gray truck, and the Durango?
Yes.
Josh said he wanted 2 new cruisers too. So
I ain't looking how that.
Talking about next year.
Actually, we've done got the excuse, yeah, in January, rest of the racetrack's money comes in, and then we're gonna get real close to, we'll be getting close to the excess fees. So, you know, we'll visit it. We'll visit it. Meanwhile, drive careful.
For the most part, we have got a very good year with our cruiser maintenance and speaking with the different garages that we use. We've had a real good year, and we've been fortunate to that I think we could probably leg along until this time next year before we have to look at getting another car.
Harvey, you had brought something, Harvey's called me today. I'll start this out.
Go right ahead.
Harvey had called me today and feels like that we may have a flaw in the animal control ordinance. He may very well be right, and I'll let you elaborate on it a little
I
bit.
talked with Bill and Spike about it a little bit, talked over there, talked with you, goes back and forth, so everybody is here. On what it is, Judge, on our ordinance, it says animals run at large, list dogs and list animals. That ordinance, cats ain't listed in it.
just a real quick, sorry to interrupt, Artis, but actually our ordinance says dogs running at large. It
Right.
doesn't say animals.
Right.
It says dogs.
Right, and that's what we're wanting to see if I get changed where it says animals, or add cats in there too, to take care of the cat problem in the county.
Okay, let's, I told
Man, I
Harvey,
remember years ago, this was in the Gallatin County News, where somebody talked about shooting a cat, and boy, it got, that sold you a lot of papers, didn't
It's kind of an ongoing problem back there, Spike can tell you. Where I live, my dogs get out, they kill the neighbor's cats, and they're their cats. While they're over on our property, I say something to them about it, and it's, well, they're not, cats can roam where they want, there's no county ordinance against them. So if I start killing the cats, then they're their cats. They pick and choose when the cats are, I don't discriminate no more. I just, well, it don't matter.
If they come off your property.
You're on video,
your
Ron,
property,
Artis, shut up.
they'll be considered as being feral, wouldn't they?
yeah. Well, actually, it might be if they were on your property, it may be your own cat. So I don't.
Well,
But Judge, what I'm asking is if Fiscal Court would look at that law about, ordinance to go in there and change that.
Probably the thing that the
Y'all quit discriminating against dog owners.
is, visit some other county ordinances and find out what does work and what does not work. If we need to retune this thing and look at it,
I will say that, there's some city ordinances within the county that have animals running at large. There's just one way they just wrote the word animal instead of dog. They did. And, just kind of a semi-funny story. Josh calls me one day and says, here's what I've got. I've got a live animal trap, chunks of ice, and a closed garbage can, and the lady says that the neighbor drowned her cat. Do I need to serve? So, what we end up with is a situation where ladies have been trapping cats, live cats, turn them over to our dog warden, and he would take them to the shelter. Well, since the shelter couldn't take them, she had to find alternate means of disposal. So, you know. Yeah.
But Judge, I mean, it's not, I mean, Dudley, the shooting said there today out on his property, the cats are, I mean, it's getting, cat problem gets bad in this county as far as what they call feral cats. And they're getting pretty bad, and that's all I'm asking, is maybe y'all take a look at that and change it. Because even when I asked to see the rabies certificates on the ones, they say they don't have to produce them because there's no ordinance that says cats can go wherever they want.
We'll probably, let Spike and Bill look at that, review it, next meeting, come up with their synopsis and go from there. You good with that?
On the line of ordinances, I know a while back, we had some issues with gun range stuff, and Spike and Bill, we looked at a couple different counties. I don't know why, but in the last 3 months, I've had 4 people ask me what the regulations are for gun ranges. Yeah, and I think it.
That's Argus's fault.
It comes to a point where, you know, people are, and I've got an issue up on 2850 where a guy just, you know, he does it safely and the people around him don't like it, so, you know, but there's no regulations. And I know we looked at some ordinances from like Oldham County, different places, where it talks about you're not allowed to shoot within 300 feet of a residence or a dwelling or unless you own so much property. And I know on a couple different occasions, of course, Randy's range, there were some bullets that were trespassing to somebody else's property, place in Mars Place. Now a lady on 2850 says she can't sell her development property because they're shooting towards that development property and nobody wants it. And so I think we probably need to look at that range issue stuff of what's allowable, what, you know, is not. And
Generally speaking, when one person's use and enjoyment of their property interferes with their neighbor's use and enjoyment of their property, you have what's called a nuisance situation. But, you know, people have rights. You know, I'm the famous guy, as Harvey's always pointed out, that took the complaint about the rooster. The whole purpose about the rooster was to bring it to court because the fellow was not, you know, I've talked to him 7 or 8 times and I wasn't getting anywhere with him. And to have him come in and have the judge explain to him how that if you live in the country, you're going to have farm animals and you have to adjust. If you don't like living in the country, then don't live in the country. You know, and part of that is we live in a rural community where people come and hunt and they want to train for their hunting and they enjoy their guns and you have to put up with that. Now, where it becomes not reasonable is if you're shooting at a time when your neighbors would normally be asleep. You know, if he works second shift and he wants to sleep during the day and shoot in the evening, you know, I mean, but under normal circumstances. But there are dispute resolutions that they have available to them between themselves, one neighbor and another neighbor. Now, Hargis' situation has gotten to the point where, I mean, he has a electric fence. One of those, my buddy says, can't you see that invisible fence, you know? So he's gone to the expense, and I'm assuming to train, but we know when these cats come over onto his property, and they know exactly what they're doing. Cats and dogs have been doing that for thousands of years, and we're not going to fix that. You know, the dogs take off, and they run so fast that the fence really isn't effective. You know, so, but he's held accountable. Now, ultimately, the way the rules are written is, he has to keep his dogs under control, but they do not. So we will look at that. But as far as the gun range goes, I mean, I get that about once every other year where somebody will come in and, you know, it was a grandfather and a son and a grandson and they're out doing a family shoot. Scoping their guns, and then, you know, the next thing I know, I've got 5 surrounding neighbors, and, you know, somebody's gone to war over the hill we don't feel safe, you all have to do something about it. Well, they have to do it safely. The Randy's range thing was a little different because I think it was set up for certain, but when you get into the more and more high-powered long range, they got a little bit less control, and it was elevated. But hopefully they worked that out. We set a truce
Randy closing, right?
for that long guns or.
No, except until Kerry West, classic, he found the range closed.
I had a situation at Mars' place where a guy was shooting in a gully, and he's on his property, he's shooting safely. But the problem is that, it hits a rock, and then you got a guy mowing up here, and it's just in close proximity,
Was this in the subdivision?
yes.
I know the fire range, it'll be open in March, we're gonna have it, the buildings and stuff ready for it to go in March. We've got our people trained, sheriff's department, we got some of their people trained down there. Anytime anybody's shooting, there will be master range safety officers on site, anytime that anybody's down there shooting. The bike track back there, it's about halfway done, 2 inches of rain. I thought I was gonna have a pay lake down there the other day, until one end of it gave out, so. We almost had another lake down on the field. That one end gave out on us, so we gotta rebuild it back. And then for 2015, I got the Fireboard attorney, I need to send him a copy of the contract. We did get the Northeastern for the National Festivals and Rendezvous down there. First year, they're expecting about 500 tents in there for it. I don't know if anybody got toward Glencoe Frontier Day, got to drive down toward Glencoe. They had it set up out there on the ridge. There was about 30 tents that come in. There'll be about 500 of them in there for the Northeastern.
Hey, Argus, I was talking to the folks at the Gallatin County Historical Society. They thought that was fascinating.
Yes.
They would love to talk to you about it sometime, maybe do whatever they can to help.
Yes, I had somebody else come, we're gonna sit down and talk with them. But if anybody got to go down there and see it, it was phenomenal what they had set up down there. And but other than that, if y'all wanna give the fire some money, as usual, we'll take it. I need to get Josh to start asking.
Josh is going, sorry. Yeah.
I need to go before Josh in next time.
Wilbur, Chris, anything? What's going on out in the real world?
You gonna bring it up, Joe, or not, or?
It's whatever, I hadn't, we've all discussed it already.
I mean,
I don't know if it's,
it really, with the situation, which, you know the situation already, I guess, but it really made my heart feel, like we done a disjustice for these people with having that trouble out on the interstate like that. Call Joe, call me, call Josh. It don't, there need to be something, I don't know how or what, but something need to be set in play with that.
With, you don't know, with the animal?
Yes, horses. We got a bill, if anybody don't know, we got a bill for $4,500 to pull 3 horses up into a trailer and haul it 10 miles. And just, they thought a lot of horses, I hauled the horses to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, they didn't want to bury them on the farm. And, just.
It's my understanding you charge them less to haul them from here to Tennessee than he did.
Yes, they offered me $300 more than I hauled them for. And, then we got this bill, and I went and picked them up, and it was, we got billed for stuff that didn't happen. We got billed for time that they wasn't out there. We got billed for, just.
I guess probably this, we get in this same thing. I'm a firm believer, keep government out of everything you can because they'll usually screw it up. But in this case, there are situations that we don't like to see happen, but it does. So I guess maybe as a courtesy letter, and I say courtesy, non-threatening, whatever, maybe a courtesy letter spot by you, Bill, to just ask for any reasoning or why this took place.
does the county have a dead wagon specifically?
Well, that's what I was gonna bring up, extension page
Yes.
for dead animal removal.
Yes, they do, and I was gonna contact May Wallace today to find out who that was. I know, speaking with my father-in-law Gordon, who used to be be on sort of conversation with the conservation board. He said it used to be a company out of LaGrange. I don't know who the county is contracted with.
I thought that.
Is it, I didn't know.
Yeah. Don't supposed to be like that.
You know, a legitimate price, I mean, and nobody can dictate what it's worth to do such a job.
Exactly.
But at the same time, you know, if it'd been $2,000, there wouldn't have been a question.
I know the Conservation Service, I saw their budget here about a month ago, and they pay a yearly fee for animal removal to.
Is it around 3,000, 3,500 or something?
That's 7,000 a year they pay.
And like I said, it's not,
I guess we crossed the fine line at this point.
How many horses are?
yeah,
So it's a $300 difference.
Charge.
it's not our place to question
Exactly.
private business or what they charge, so I want to be perfectly clear about that.
But it gives all of us a black eye.
Yes, it does, so I think probably a courtesy letter of seeing them and let the folks justify their cause.
Well, I think there'd be a courtesy letter from her lawyer, I really do. I mean, and, you know, Josh was in, you know, he was right there with it, JoJo was there with it, it was, you know, there was a lot of witnesses that knew how long it took, knew how many people was working. You know, it's a bad situation, I mean, a guy got killed, you know.
And if nothing else, just maybe the guy reconsider. You know.
All that possibility.
It's hard.
And he's got the dead weight.
That's what I thought.
Nobody can say that, nobody knew that.
She sent the bill out.
So that's who we're.
That's why I said we might want to be careful on questioning. I don't think anybody else gets questioned on what they bill insurance companies and things. So therefore,
I wrote the check for it.
if we're going to question what one person bills, then let's start questioning what everybody bills.
True, you're exactly right.
You're right, there's a fine line
The
there.
only concern I have is that I'm not sure, and I'd like to confirm, is are they already contractually obligated?
They're contracted with the federal government. They also have license to haul animals across state lines.
Well, first of all, you're not speaking for them, are you?
I'll speak for my sister. I was there when the bill was written today.
Okay. Are they, as hard, do we have a contract with them, or does the conservation?
Conservation extension, dude.
Does it extend into the removal of dead animals like what we're talking about? So are you suggesting that they were already paid under that contract? I mean, they get paid whether there's 30 dead animals or there's 3 dead animals during the year?
I don't know how that contract would be, that's a foreign service, I don't know.
I don't know. Who would be the person? Dave Wallace?
I think, no.
Who?
David.
David, okay.
Big Central might know.
Is it $7,000 a year or something?
Something like 7 to 10, right in that range.
That they're paid just to pick up the animal from camp?
Like I said, keep in mind, this is a slippery slope. You know, so we need to bring, but I don't know that it all may be completely justified, I don't know. But I think the thing is to find out more about it, to see how and why it come about, and, you know, if it's legitimate, so be it.
Well, it's slippery too, from the standpoint that maybe there's only one group out there that's even interested in doing it.
True.
And so,
If you make the one group mad,
if burn the fence, next thing you know, we're
Well,
calling.
on the other side, we just got out of,
Yeah.
we just finished up some pretty heavy litigation over, rotational record service. Is this a rotating call?
Yeah, state police.
Okay, not state police call, not
State
Gallatin
police,
County.
yes.
Okay,
It
what
was not, it wasn't a heavy duty call.
Okay.
No, they called them, and it actually, the way it got called, we talked about that today, who called, how, got revolved into who called them. And I guess that was kind of, you know, I wasn't interested in that part at the time, because we kind of thought it'd be handled, you know, I mean, we was the rec people, so we were gonna, you know.
But you cut the check to pay for the movement of them.
Yes, because I was contracted to haul the horses down to them.
I think we covered that.
Yeah.
Nobody's trying to offend.
Yeah,
No.
We just want to make sure that the system works.
Well, we were just involved real heavy with it, Joe. He hauled horses to, you know, the horses that was still alive, he hauled them, you know, we we had kind of a little, not a bond, but, you know, you feel compelled with people, you know, for that, you know what I'm saying?
Not only for the animals, it's a good friend of theirs, you know.
Yeah. Anybody else got anything else? You need to go into closed session for anything? Anybody?
We're just glad you're here, not in jail.
It's great to be here. You know, I've got calluses from the cuff. Don't put it on.
That's a true statement of a friend.
We're being sarcastic, Kelly. We just- But anyway, no, that, as far as I'm concerned, it's over. You know, we'll move on.
Motion adjourned.
Motion, second, all in favor? Opposed?